Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar this morning. We're just going to be getting started in the next minute here. We'll just give a few more people another minute or two to join, and then we will get started. And thank you and good morning to all of you that have joined already. And Bill, just do a confirm for me. You can see my screen, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, well, I think we'll get started since we've got quite a few people here online, and it's 3 minutes after, so I think we're good to get going. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I think in the GoToWebinar, it's coming up as Kurt, but I'm actually Allison Carden, and I'm from eSolutions Group, and I'm going to be basically providing you guys with a demonstration today. Before we get started, we're going to just do a few introductions from the team here. And they may not need introductions, but I am going to bring on John Landry, the Executive Director of the Construction Association of New Brunswick, and Sam Sanderson, the General Manager of Construction Association of PEI. John and Sam.
Perfect. Thank you, Ali. Again, you know, it's a pleasure here today to be here. CINet 2.0 came about as a NB PEI Plansroom partners, which included CANB Fredericton, CANB Moncton, CANB St. John, CAPEI, and CANB. Sought a digital Plansroom platform with a modern look and feel using the latest technology while continuing to provide the same service members have come to expect. After extensive research, the partners are pleased to join with eSolutions Group to provide for us the back-end platform for a new and improved CINet 2.0. It is interesting to note that in the past year, 25 local construction associations across Canada have also launched their digital Plansroom using the same platform provided by eSolutions Group. We are excited to be joining our sister LCAs throughout Canada while upgrading to a new and improved service to our members.
Thanks, John, or thanks, Sam. John, did you want to go ahead?
Sure, certainly. Thanks, Ali. Morning, everyone. I'm John Landry, the Executive Director of the New Brunswick Construction Association. Over the past 20 years, the delivery of our digital Plansroom service has become the core of our service and to our partner associations in Moncton, St. John, Fredericton, and Charlottetown. While the platform we have is much the same functionality as you are used to, and many of the new features will make the bidding process easier. I would like to thank Nadine Fulton of CANB Moncton, Susan McDonald of Fredericton, and Stephanie Morrell of St. John for their participation in making CINet 2.0. So I'll ask Nadine to say a few words as well. Thank you.
Thanks, John. No, we're really excited to be part of this ongoing partnership with our regional or local construction associations. I just want to identify also our CINet task force, which was made of members of all of the partner associations who helped get this project underway and helped identify what they would like to see in the new and improved CINet. So thank you very much to those people who were fundamental in leading us to where we are today. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. And we hope that you all will see value in the new system. And we look forward to launching this in a few weeks.
All right, back to you, John.
Well, thank you. So we're excited for you to get the first look at the new platform this morning as we enter a new partnership with ourselves and eSolution and Prince Edward Island. Now I'll turn it back to Ali for the first look at CINet 2.0.
All right, great. Thanks so much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going over the demo with you guys here. So I just wanted to mention that all of the panelists are in listen only mode. So if you guys do have questions, there should be the ability to ask a question online through the GoToWebinar chat interface that you guys see. So if you guys want to, you know, ask anything, please go ahead. Depending if it's for the platform or for the associations themselves, we'll try to answer them during the webinar, but if we don't get to them all, we will certainly take the time afterwards to regroup and send out those questions. When you do submit a question, it does, assign your email to you. So if we have to follow up with you directly afterwards, we'll certainly do so. Okay, so where we're going to start today is you can see my screen here. So this is a login screen, and each of you will be getting a new account to this platform. So some notifications will be coming out in the next couple of weeks for you, and it will provide you with a link and a login to get into the new platform. So once you get to the system, you simply just enter in your email and password, and you can go ahead and log in. So when we first log into the system, we have a dashboard, right? So on this dashboard, it has various, elements here that I'm going to go through, starting with my membership. So in this particular profile, I am logged in with a member account, as I mentioned, and I can see here the company. So I've created a company called eSolutions Group, and this is my member profile. And I actually have made myself part of all 4 associations. So I've got an active membership in each one of these. And by clicking on these, I can actually see my membership type and my expiry date. So as you can see, my expiry date's a little bit further out, and this is really just a sample account. I think most of yours will probably be within a time frame. Over to the right, we have what's called a project calendar. And this is going to show you all of the important dates regarding your closing dates and your site meetings for all of the projects that you are following. So we'll talk more about how you follow a project in a few moments, but this isn't going to show every project in the system. It's only going to show the ones that you are particularly interested in. And it will just have the next set of days coming up for you, and then it's got a color code versus a site meeting. You can see on the 17th, there's actually 2 tenders closing, and then these other ones have the number 1, and that just means there's 1 event happening on those days. Now, if you do see a closing date over here or a site meeting, you can actually click on these, and this will take you right over to the project. Okay. As I scroll further down here, there's a few other aspects. So we have what's called My Created Projects. Now, the Plansroom does provide the ability for members to post what we call a private project. I'll get into that more later. But essentially, if you have created that private project, it will show you on this screen, on this section here, and you'll have a similar little button to click to take you to your private project. Moving down, we have the next section called My Invited Projects. Through this platform, it's typically used by general contractors where they can perhaps be looking at a project and then send out an invitation to their trades or their partners. So if I'm interested in bidding on a project as a general contractor, I might want to send out an invitation to my subcontractors and ask them if they're willing to participate in the bid. So if I have been invited to a project, I will certainly get an email letting me know that I've been invited, but it'll also show up here on my dashboard for me as well when I log in. And these projects will stay here and I can basically view them. Once the project has passed its closing date, they'll disappear from the screen automatically. The next section is called My Project Updates, and this will actually allow you to choose which updates you'd like to have here. But if you have any projects that you're following and there's been a new addendum or a closing date has changed or a site meeting has been updated or added, or even the status has changed. So let's say it was open and then it was canceled, or it was closed and then it was awarded. You'll get those updates on your dashboard under this section here called My Updates. Further down, so we have another area here called Projects I'm Following. So I've mentioned that a few times now, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But essentially, there's going to be thousands of projects in here, and the ones that you're interested in, you're going to be able to click a button and basically follow it. And when you're following it, it will allow you to get emails about a project or updates, but it also shows on your dashboard here. So these are things that you might be interested in, and you can always unfollow projects as well. If you've decided, you've read the documents or you've got an addendum and you're not going to be participating anymore, you can get rid of those. Now, as you can see, we just load up 3 items here. If you see this load more in any of the sections, you can actually click on that and it will expand more of your project. So I'm actually following a few different projects here and I can see them all. Clicking view will take me over to the project itself and I can view it and I can view all the information about it. So we'll get into that in a moment. So 2 really important things here is this thing called opportunity matching and my product matching. So opportunity matching is a feature that's within the application where on your company profile, you're going to add keywords. So let's say you're an electrical contractor, or perhaps you're an HVAC contractor, or concrete, whatever service you might be providing. You can actually put in keywords, and anytime a project is added where the project itself or the documents contain that keyword, you will get an email on a nightly basis, but you will also see your project showing up here. So if tonight or later today a new project was added and the word electrical showed up in a document or an addendum or a description of the document or the project, then it would be included in your nightly email, and it would also be listed here as well. Similar to what you see here, it would show you the project. It'll actually show you the keyword that was found as well. Now, for those of you that are a manufacturing and a supplier, you will also have another section called My Product Matching. So this will only show up if you are a manufacturer or supplier, and this will allow you to put specific product tag codes or product codes in your matching algorithm as well. So when we get over to the company profile, I'll show you later how you can do that. But essentially, you can just put in your product codes or your product names. And then the same thing applies here. If your product keyword or code is found in any document, you'll get an email about it. You could also put in competitor product keywords, or maybe there's particular keywords that you're looking for that would, assume that your product is applicable to that tender. Then you'd be able to reach out to, say, the trades or the general contractors to let them know that you have those products available if you wish. Then the last part on our screen here is what's called bid results. And these are for projects that you were listed as a bidder. Okay, so if you have, said that you're going to bid, or you've been added to the bidders list by the associations, they will show down here, and it will actually put in the status. So right now, these two projects are what we call closed. They may move into a state later of awarded. Okay, so again, you might see a couple different statuses here. I think closed, unofficial, and awarded are the three that you'll see. And then potentially some results will be posted as well, depending on what data is available through the associations and what they can get from those other platforms. Then certain information will be available to you when you click on view. Okay, so that's our dashboard overview. So this is really, every one of you will have, your own information here. And essentially, the more that you use the system, probably the more information you're going to see on your dashboard when you log in. The one thing I'll mention is for the opportunity matches, there could be quite a few that come up here. And when they do show up, you'll see a little dismiss button, okay, that will show up here. So if you see something, you're like, no, it's not really for me, you can dismiss it, and then it won't show up on your dashboard anymore. That does not mean that you can't ever find that project again. It just won't show up on the home screen for here when you first log in. Okay, so I'm going to move over now to the project section. Okay, so underneath projects, we have two options. We have project search and add a project. So project search is where you're going to spend, probably the, majority of your time here, okay? So when we get over to the project search, there's a couple things that we can do here. We've got this concept of save searches, okay? So we'll talk about how to actually save a search in a moment. Then we have our keywords, so we can search for projects by keywords. Underneath, you'll see this thing called a document search. So I'm going to do that in just a few minutes. And this will actually allow you to search for a keyword within a document. So it works similar to how the matching does, in that it will actually search through the documents to find the keywords for you. Okay, so if you want to search by a city or zones, you can do that here as well. You can filter by my projects. Okay, so if I only want to see the projects that I'm actually following, I can click that, and here's the projects that I'm following or that I'm interested in. Or I can see all projects, and then we have this thing called my private project. So again, these are projects that you have created in the private Plansroom, and we'll get into that in a second, but this will allow you to do that. And then we've got various advanced search features. So if you wanted to search by dates, so let's say you're looking for closing dates, or you're looking for site meetings or last updated, classification of work. So if you're looking for particular projects that are, you know, a civil, ICI, or all, you can search by those. You can also search by an owner type. So if you're, you know, interested in projects for the federal government or the municipal government, you can search for those. And then we have this thing called stage, and this is really the status that the projects are in currently. Okay, so there, it always defaults to open, but if you wanted to go back and look at projects that are closed or that have been awarded, you can certainly do that as well. Okay, but the default load that you see here will be open. And then procurement type, again, I'm not sure if you will search for these or not, but you can certainly search for different types of projects by the procurement type. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this for a second. And what we'll do is we'll do a couple keywords. So I'm going to search for the first one here. We're going to do, even if I just search for the word build. Okay, so when I search for this and I don't tick the keyword, essentially what we'll be doing in this case is just searching through the title and the description of a project. Okay, now if I were to take this out and search for something like electrical, okay, let me type that one more time. Right, and this time I actually want to search through the documents. Now this search will take a little bit longer because it's actually going through all the files. You're going to see this thing called keyword density. So this is telling me that it found the word electrical 152 times inside of this project. So the chances are there's probably a good amount of electrical, or at least talking about electrical in this particular tender. Whereas you can see in this one, it's only found 32 times, 2 times, 2 times. Now, later when we click onto one of these projects, you'll be able to search and see which files that's actually found, but I will show you that in just a few minutes when we look specifically at the project itself. So we could also search for the word roof. Okay, and the same thing applies. This one will take a little bit longer just because we are going through all the files. You can see here 93 times 80, 1 and 1. Okay, so you can search for various keywords. You can only do one keyword at a time. So if you did something like comma, separate, and you said roof and shingles, it's going to look for that exactly. Okay, so just keep this to one keyword that you're looking for. Now, if you wanted to, let's say, search within a specific city. Okay, so I could just look for projects within a city, or within the zone is the actual different local association, so you can do that too. But let's say I'm just going to type in the name of this city. You can see there's a few results there. Okay, so this lets me search for projects in the city. Now remember, this is only projects that are currently open, and I will mention that there's only a sample set of data available in here. So when we launch the system, there'll be many, many projects in here, and we're just working with a smaller test sample size for today. So one thing to mention that's a really handy feature here is this concept called saved search. And you can build your own saved searches. So let's say I'm really interested in projects, within this particular city. I could add a, classification type or a keyword, or, whatever I like. I can basically build up this search. And then what you can do is do this thing called save search. And what I can say here is so I might want to have a search that's named after this city, and I can go ahead and save that. And then the next time when I come into my project search, I can actually just click it and it'll auto-generate all of that search criteria for me, and it will run the search. So I don't have to continuously build up this search all the time if I'm always looking for the same thing. Okay, so just one other thing about the screen here, depending on the resolution of your screen, or if you're on a phone or a tablet, if you've got a large list of projects here and you want a little bit more screen real estate, you can actually hide that little menu on the side. I find when I'm working on a tablet or a phone, it's nicer to kind of scroll through it in this view rather than taking up all the space over here. New projects that are added will actually be highlighted in a different color. So when you come in, you'll actually see those in a different color. And then a few other things to mention is we've got this paging size. So I think the default page size is 10. So when you first come in, just be aware if you're searching for something, there are typically multiple pages and you can page through them. You can also change it to view 100 per page, and then you can view 100 at a time. The column headings here, these little arrows, if you click on them, it'll actually sort the headings. So if you wanted to sort by a closing date or by a city or a stage or project numbers, you can do that as well. The keywords, you can also search by the number. And if the owner has issued a specific tender number, you can search by that number for the keyword as well. So once you actually go through the details screen, you'll see all of the information available. The last thing to talk about before I move on to the project screen is this column chooser. So we've kind of set this default view of what we think is the most important information, but there is other pieces of information available here for you. So if you are looking, let's say I did mention about the adding the owner's number. Okay, so now you can see that the owner number is now in the column picker here for me. Okay, so again, these are things that you can search by. Even though they're not showing up here, you can still search by them, and the system will actually provide the results for you. Okay, so feel free to play around with these. I'm pretty sure that if you do set the columns and the page type, it will remember it the next time that you log in. So if you've chosen that you like 100, then the next time that you come in, it will default to 100 for you. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to actually just jump into one of the projects that I have here. So we're going to look at, I think it was BSJ. Okay, so when I see this project here, there's a couple little icons here. So this one here says follow. So if I want to follow this project or view the project, I can click on the eye, but I can also just double click anywhere on this row and it will actually load up the project for me. Okay, so this is where you're going to find all of your details for this particular project. So when we first load it up, we can see the title, we can see the closing date, okay? And whenever this project, if the dates are updated, they'll be updated in the system, and basically the associations will look after keeping this information up to date. And you can see there's various tabs across the top. So we have the project details, which is what we're looking at now. So this is where all of the important information about the project, so the number, the zone, which is the association, the title, the owner's number. So again, this is a number that you could search by if you needed to. We've got an address, our closing date, addendums, how do you submit, if there's any site meetings, and then the description, so the scope of work and some of the other categories for the project. The next tab over we have is our project contacts. So in this case, we've gotten, who the owner is, and we've also got a direct contact here. So we've got an address, a phone number, and an email if needed. Okay. Next tab over, we have documents and addendum. So as you can see, there's a couple different files that are listed here. So we can see when they were added, the document type. You can download individual files here. You can also click to download all attachments. So if we go ahead and download this, it'll just give you a little, completion progress bar. And I will mention, like, some of the files that I've seen, so some of the drawings, they could be very large. So the reason why that little spinning wheel is there is because sometimes there's very large files and they could take a few minutes. So just be patient. That progress updater will keep you up to date as to, how long it's going to take. And then you may also see on here too is that there might be folders, right? So in this particular example, these are just files, but in some cases you'll have folders of packages. So there might be a folder called drawings, and inside of that folder, there'll be multiple drawings inside of it. So you can just basically use that or kind of navigate through that to view the files. And then this is where we actually have the keyword search as well. So in this case, we can search for, I think this was, let me just see if we have this keyword. Maybe not. Oh, we found something here. So we got one keyword hit. Okay, so this will actually tell us how many times it found it, and it will highlight this section in the document that it found it. Okay, so in this case, it's a very minimal term that we found in here. And if there's multiple files, it will list every single file out here. It'll give you a little highlight as to where it found in the document. And then from there, you can just download this file. Okay, so again, you can search within them. Moving along here is we have what's called the bidder list. And again, this is just a sample. I've just added myself to this particular project, but the bidders will be on here and kind of grouped so you can see the company and the contact information. And then if they did submit a bid and if it was awarded and the information is available to the associations, it can be put in here. It won't always be here because it's not always available. But over time, the bidders list will build up as the project progresses, and then once it's closed and awarded, additional information may show up here as well. Okay, so then we have a tab called My Invitations. Okay, so I'm going to show you this on a different project that I've got set up, but essentially this allows me to invite trades to participate in this project with me. Okay, so just a few other things on the screen here before I move on. So we've got the ability to share a project. So if you wanted to share this with someone, basically what we can do is it will copy it to your clipboard and you can paste this in a chat, you can paste this in an email, you can send it in whatever format, a text message if you want to. All this is doing is copying the URL to your clipboard and you can send this to someone. So it's not a public screen that will show up, you'll have to actually log in when you get the URL. It's not like it will just show up and everyone can see it without logging in. So if they don't have an account, they'd have to create an account. And if they do have an account, they'll log in, but it will take them directly to this URL once they do sign in. Okay, so there's a few things that I'm going to go on another project. I'll show you some of these different options. So you will see remove me from bidder list. So I previously to this, the button said I am bidding. You'll see that I am following this project, okay? And the invite to bid we'll look at in just a moment. So I'm just gonna head back over to the search. And I'm gonna pick on another project here. Let's see. Okay, so on this project, as you can see, I haven't said that I'm bidding. So I can go ahead and choose I am bidding. And if I say that, then essentially what will happen is I can choose my bidder type. Okay, so if I am going to be bidding, I can pick general contractor, manufacturer, supplier. So I can choose one of these types. And I can choose to display my contact information, including my email, or only display my company information, including the email of my company. So the user themselves have the ability to choose which information is going to be displayed. You can also choose at this time to follow the project. I mean, it makes sense that you would want to do this. That's why it's defaulted to yes, because that means this will show up on your dashboard and you will also receive information about the project via email. So we can go ahead and do that. Okay, so it's added me to the bidders list and I am following it. Okay. So what we're going to do now is just move over to this feature called invite to bid. Okay, so we can see here on my invitations, I have not used this feature for this particular project. And before I jump in and walk you through it, I'm just going to pop over and show you what it looks like on a project that I've already started it on. So I've used this one. Okay, so on this particular screen, when I click my invitation, so this is only relevant to me and my company, okay? So, if Bill was to log in and he invited someone, he's only going to see his invitations. We never ever see each other's invitations. I don't know what Bill's doing. Bill doesn't know what I'm doing. So this screen is different. The administrators don't know who you've invited or who you haven't invited and so on. So in this particular example, you can see that I've invited a bunch of people, okay? And I can also see that they have not responded, Okay, so each one of these people would have received an email saying that eSolutions has invited them to participate in the bid. And I'm going to show you what that email looks like in a second. And it will actually track. So if the person said, no, I'm not bidding, this will change to no, I'm not bidding, or yes, I am bidding. And then we have another handy little feature here that, hey, if they haven't actually responded, you can choose this little remind them. And then basically it'll say, hey, do you want to remind Nancy? And I'll say yes. Okay, so now Nancy will just got another email saying, hey, we're waiting for your response. And she could click that link and let us know if she's going to bid or not. Okay, so up here we have a few statistics about your invitations. Okay, and again, if this is a feature that you want to use, so we can see total 5, bidding 0, not bidding 0, no responses 5. And there's actually an export here that you can do that will provide you with an export of all of this information to Excel. So if you have, if you're inviting a lot of people and you want to export this data and do something else with it, you can certainly do that. One of the other things that you'll see here is this trade type column. So you can do multiple invitations. It doesn't have to be done all in one batch. And you can see that I invited this company for HVAC, and these ones I didn't choose a trade. So as we go through the invitation process in a second, I'll show you how that works. And then we've got the number of pages here. We've got your column pickers. Again, really just change your view to only include the things that are most relevant to you. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to go back to my other project here, and we will go through the invitation process together. Okay, so if we pop over here to invite to bid, we have 4 options when we want to invite, and you can use a combination of all of them. You can use this feature over and over and over again. So let's say you send out some invitation and nobody responds. You might want to go back in the next day and do it again and invite other people. Okay, you might want to do this multiple times for trades. So again, it's not a one-time use. You can do this as many times as you want, and your My Invitation page will just be updated accordingly. So there's 4 options, as I mentioned. So use a list I've already set up. So this does actually allow you to build your own lists in the system. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a moment. We can use a search, and this search will allow you access to anyone that's in this directory. And you can search by name, by region, by category. There's also an advanced search where you can search by their like LCA zones, business categories, labor types, classification of works. This is all the different codes. So you can search for people by any one of these combinations. You can invite people from a previous project. I don't have a previous private project that I've created, so this one isn't an option. And you can also do what's called an address book, okay? So there's an area that we'll talk about at the end of the session where you can build your own lists that you can import from Excel. So let's say you've got your lists of trades and contacts and things like that. You can upload as many of those into the system. And I've just called mine sample import. But you can upload those into the system and keep them here and manage your own lists. So when you do import your data, it stays as your list. Those lists don't become available to anyone else. It's only your contacts and your people, and you have control over that. It's not being shared with anyone. Okay. So if I go back to my list, so I've got, for example, if I had a list called My Electricians, right, who I've previously created a list for, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. I can see here who these are my electricians, and again, this is all just sample. So I could select all of them, or I could say, this time I'm just going to invite these 2 companies, and I'm going to add them to my list. Okay, so my invitation list is being built up over here. So I can see who's on my list. I can remove everyone. I can remove individuals. I can also make a new list as I'm going through. So this time I might just want to call this, list 2 as an example, and I can make that list as I'm going. Okay, so in this case, I'm not going to send this out to these companies. So if you guys are on the call and you see your name there, I'm not going to go ahead and send this out. I'm going to just go back and I'm going to use a list that I already have with my test companies. Okay, so I've got 2 test accounts in here. I'm going to add these 2. well, let me remove these ones. Okay, so we'll add these and we're going to compose an email. So this is the email that we pre-populate for you. So if you want to copy someone on these emails, you can. If you want to blind copy yourself or someone else on here, you can. I want to caution you though, is that if you do that, you get copied on every email that gets sent out. So we don't send out one mass email. So if your list had 100 people on it and you're going to send this out and you blind copied yourself, you're going to receive 100 blind copy emails, which might be fine for you, but I just want to let you know that. So we send each email individually because we don't want mass emails to be blocked as spam. We also want to track them individually that each one has been successfully sent. So that's why we don't do a bulk email. So just remember that. We pre-populate the subject line for you, but you can cut this out and you can, call this whatever you like. Okay, so you don't have to use the subject that we've populated, but you will see that it's saying invitation to bid, and it automatically puts the name of the project in here for you. Now, if you want to include the trade type, and this is more for your own internal tracking. So let's say this was my electrical, right? So if this is my invitation I'm sending out for electrical, then we've got a couple things here. Is it'll actually pre-populate this email token. So this is the email message that everyone's going to see. So it's saying eSolutions Group, which is my company, is inviting you to participate as a subcontractor for trade type. So it will replace that with electrical. It puts in the project name automatically. And it will automatically put in a link as well. But you are more than welcome to delete this entire thing and write your own message. You could also put, your own information at the bottom. So you can add your own details here if you like. Okay, so once you build up your email, most people, by the way, just enter a trade and click next. They don't do a lot of customizations, but on the next screen, we have a preview. So this is essentially what people will see in their inbox when they get it. So the subject line, then we've got the message, right? And they actually have a link to view the project, and they get 2 buttons right inside of their email. Yes, we will submit a quote. No, we will not submit a quote. They don't have to even log in to do this. They can do this right from their phone. They can do it from their computer, but basically they can click this and this will send a signal up to our system, which will get to you to say, oh, this company is not going to be bidding. Okay, so we can go ahead and we can click send. And once it's sent, it just kind of tells you, oh, we've sent it to 2 people. You will receive an email when a contact responds. You can also view the response statuses by clicking on the project details page. So if I'm done all my invitations, I can click details page. If I want to close this and do, let's say I want to now send it out for concrete trades or HVAC or whatever it may be, I could go back and do this again and again and again. But for the time being, for today, I'm going to go back over to my details page. And here you will see we've got the companies that were invited, the trade type is listed, and basically we've got those status indicators here. And as I mentioned earlier, you will receive an email when someone does respond. So at least you can see, oh, yes, they're going to bid. No, they're not going to bid. And then you can always come back in here and adjust your invitations if people are not responding, and make use of the remind feature as well. That remind feature will just send out the same email that went, but it just, in the subject line, it just says we're waiting your response. Okay, so moving on, we've got a few more things to cover here. So the next part is the private projects. So for the private projects, these essentially are, well, they're private. So when you create them, nobody can see these projects except the people that you invite. So you kind of have to use the 2 features together. So you first are going to create your project, and then once you're done, you're going to go and use the invitation feature to ask people to participate. Okay, so there's really the 2 use cases for the invitation is, if you're a general contractor and, let's say the city is looking to build a community center and you're looking to invite trades to participate in that particular project, then you would just go to that project and use the invitation feature. If you have your own project that you want to build up, and you want to put in your own project title and you want to put in your own details, you have your own closing date, perhaps they might have to register or get documents from you. You can go ahead and basically fill out all of this information. Now, I'm not going to fill this all in today. I'm just going to give a quick summary here. So we would go through the project identification, the project details, so the addresses, closing dates, where do they get the documents, if there are site meetings, if you are issuing addendums for your private projects, you can do those here as well. Then we get into the project description. And again, these are all just categorizing projects, right? So the tender stage, the funding type, the procurement type, so you can click these different options, owner type, okay, budget amount, if you have it, your scope of work, you can put comments, disclaimers, if trade agreements are applicable, and you will see that this project is set as private. You don't have the ability to make this project live into the large database, but if that is something that you want to do, the excuse me, the associations can actually do that for you. So if you do have a project you would like to do that, that would be up to each association if they wanted to permit that and do that as well. So the next part of creating a project is just under project contacts. And I guess I should mention at the beginning, this feature is typically only used by the general contractors. I don't see a lot of trade contractors unless it's a fairly large trade contract using this feature. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So for the project contacts, you can put in the owner. And again, this might be yourself, but you may also, if you're building, some large complex, maybe you're issuing your own project, but at the end of the day, it is for an owner. So basically you'll just pop up this button. You can use the search here if you want, if if it is a particular city, and it will load in the detail. If the owner doesn't exist, you can actually create a new one right from here. And then it will go into onto your screen here once you enter the information. Project contact, so you can add contact information. So there's many different types of contacts. So if you want to list out, who's a civil consultant or project manager or issuing authority, you can have many contacts and you can add in, in email addresses, phone numbers, and things like that. If you choose to show contact information, then those details will show up on the project details for those people that you've invited. Over time, so if you are receiving bids, you can actually add in the bids. So there's a couple different options. You can pop this button open and you can enter in the people that did register and submit. If they did submit, you can put in the award information and submission. And again, this is a private project, so it's private to you if you've created this project, but it's really up to you on how much information you want to load in this section. Documents can be uploaded here. There's a nice little drag and drop feature where you can just drag in your drawings and your specs and addendums and things like that. You can create folders and so on. You can also make notes for yourself, and you can also make follow-up tasks. So these little tasks, if you do make them, you can set a due date and a task, and it'll just send you a reminder. It'll also show up on your calendar when you log in. So if you needed to call someone about something, or perhaps attend a site meeting, you could put different follow-up tasks in here if you wish. Okay, so that's essentially how you would go about creating a project. Again, the use of this is for a limited group of people typically, but it is a feature that is available. So at this point, I'm just going to move into really one of the last sections of the secure portal here, and that is what we call the account. So as you can see up in the top corner, it says my name. Okay, so there's my account, so I can click on this section. So there's two parts to an account. There's my personal user login information, which shows here my first name, last name. It shows my email. And I have an option to opt out of email here. So this is something that you can also do from emails that are sent to you from the system. But just remember, if you opt out, then you're not going to get the emails. A lot of people find the daily emails that get sent out with new opportunities quite useful. So just keep that in mind. And you can always change this setting when you log in. So if you accidentally did it, you can undo it easily. You can at any point change your password. Okay, so if you want to reset it here, you can do that. And for me, this is my company. right? So I belong to this company, and as you can see, I've set myself up to, as an administrator, I was set up to belong to the 4 associations as a member, and I have my expiry dates here. But when I want to go and edit my profile, and this is probably one of the most important things for everyone on the call, is getting your profile up to date, because those matching keywords, and there's a directory feature I'm going to show you in a moment, you know, it's really important that you have a really solid profile, so that we have, you know, proper up-to-date information about your company. So in section 1, company information, this area is controlled by the association. So if you need anything in here adjusted, like your company name, for example, you would need to speak with them. Now, this is a company email. Typically, this is a generic email that I would see, such as like an info@. The emails for the actual users are editable by the companies themselves, okay? So this information is here for you to view. It shows your membership and your expiry dates. Then we get into the user information. So my eSolutions group profile has 2 contacts. Okay, so from this part here, I can have a title, show an invite to bid. So what this means is, if you remember the invite to bid feature, you can control who on your profile gets those emails. So let's say you want to list the president of your company in the directory, but the person that should get these emails is the estimator, right? We don't want the president getting the invitation to bid. So you can actually choose, you know, who shows up in the directory. I haven't shown you that directory yet. I'm going to spend the last couple minutes here doing so. But basically, you guys can control who gets the invite to bid emails and who shows up in the public directory. And you can also see when your users have logged in the roles, and the approval status is essentially if other users have been requested, it would say pending approval, waiting for approval, and so on. So to edit one of these, we can click manage, right? So if I wanted to, you know, say who can be in the directory, I could check it or uncheck it. I can adjust the title. As you can see, the emails can't be adjusted. That needs to be done through the association, okay? And then for adding a user, so there are some restrictions around this in terms of what can and can't be added by different companies. But if this feature is available to you, then you can add name, email, title, and again, you can choose the options for this user as well. So just take a look at your profile, because we've imported the data. One of the instructions that will be sent out when we launch the system is to spend some time on your profile and getting it up to date, making sure it's accurate so that you're showing up in searches and, you know, you're getting the proper notifications. So business category, you can choose one or many of these. Your service region, so this is the area that you're willing to work in, okay? So you can choose one or many. Your labor type, your classification of work. So when you pop into these boxes, you can pick multiple, right? It's not just one for some of them. The owner type that you work for, the categories, okay? So you can pick your categories, and then these are the matching keywords that I was talking about. So I've used some pretty generic terms here only for more of a testing process, because almost every project has the word city or tender in it. So I've just been, you know, setting my profile up for that. Those are pretty generic terms. I wouldn't advise that. I would put things that are more relevant to your business. And as I mentioned earlier, for those of you that are a manufacturer or supplier, if you have that box ticked, you'll also get another section for product keywords. So this is where, like, let's say you have a specific type of product number, you know, let's just say it was, you know, something like that, and that would be listed in the tender. You can go ahead and list your product matching keywords in here as well. And then if any matches are found, as I mentioned earlier, they will be listed on the on your dashboard for you when you log in. So the last section here is about the public directory, and I'm going to show that to you in a second, as this is a feature that is available to you. So your company can appear in a public directory that's searchable. If you do not want your company to appear in the directory, you can uncheck this box and it will not be there. Any information that you populate down here will show up in the directory, okay? You don't have the ability to hide certain things. So if you're not comfortable, you know, saying your bonding amount or your liability insurance, then don't provide it here because it will be displayed. This company alias, I'll show that in a second, but basically you're going to get a web page in the directory that will be your company name, and you can direct traffic to that page. It's essentially like almost like a free website, basically, that has your company and all the information that's underneath this public directory section. Okay, so you can go ahead and fill out this information. You can put in associations, your project samples, you can put in pictures of your work. You can say, you know, what it costs. You can write a description. You can say if you were awarded the project, put in the images as I mentioned, and you can put up to 5 project samples. If you have social media accounts for your company, you can put in your social media links as well so that they will show up. Any licenses or unions that you have, and your company logo. So all of those things can be added to your profile. And I'm gonna just actually pop over now and show you the profile. But I can't iterate enough how important it's going to be for you guys to, you know, go to your profile when you first get the announcement about the system, and just make sure everything's up to date. Make sure the proper people are, you know, noted for getting contacted. Make sure your keywords are in there, and all of the relevant information here. Okay, so I'm going to log out now. So essentially this is where we log out, and we're just going to pop over to the public directory. Okay, so this, again, this is all public information. This will be hosted off of the CINet website. And, you know, if people are searching for particular businesses, this directory listing will come up even in Google. So if they're going into Google and saying, you know, electricians in Fredericton, we've done a lot of SEO optimization to make these pages really user-friendly for Google so that your listings will get found and hopefully drive traffic to this page for you. So in here, I'm just going to search for electric. We do have an advanced search, as you can see, so you can search for locations, regions, or if you have a specific, you know, liability that you need to find, you could do that as well. So I'm just going to pop over here. Okay. And when we view this screen, there's a few things to note. So we've still got the advanced search up here. There's the ability to sort. There's different views. So we have this tile view and we have a list view. Now, keep in mind, none of you have had access to the system yet to update your information. So typically these will all be nice, fancy logos that will be showing up. So this is really important that you put that in, and then that you put in all the relevant information about your business, okay? So again, for those of you that are looking for someone, so let's say, again, say you are a general contractor and maybe you're looking to contact somebody that does electrical work or, you know, HVAC work, whatever that may be. Whatever you've searched upon, you have further filters that apply down the side here. So if I'm looking for electrical in New Brunswick, I can actually see there's been 30 companies that are in New Brunswick, and we have 12 that are in Prince Edward Island. So again, I can filter these out if I want. It works similar to Amazon. For those of you that shop online, you can use the filters on the side to basically filter out the different businesses. So I'm just actually going to search for my profile. Okay, so on my particular profile, I can click on this, and what you'll see up here is there's going to be a link that you can put on your business card, and it's actually going to say directory.cinet.ca when we go live, and then it will just be / the name of your company. Okay, so this is again something that you can use on, you know, in directory, other directories, business cards. If you don't have a website, you know, you can basically use this to drive traffic here, and they can get information about your company, the services that you have, your contact information, and just to learn a little bit more about you. So here I would typically have my logo, I'd have my business description, I can see I'm course certified, my areas are here, my categories of services, my licenses, bonding, insurance, organizations. You know, if I was affiliated with unions, they'd be here as well. And then over on the right side, we have contact info, so my website, my phone, and email of my company, my address. And then we even have the LinkedIn profile, my Facebook profile. And if you remember, for the users we built on the company, essentially these are showing up here, right? So if I didn't want Gord to show up, I would have ticked that box for him not to show up. And then from here, people can actually contact you. So when we click on that, it's actually just loading up my email, and it basically will allow you to contact that company through your own email. From here, you can also share it. So if you wanted to email this to someone, this listing, or you wanted to share it on Facebook or social media, you can do that. And then the last piece here is just the sign up and sign in. So you can also see that. So the sign in is the same login page that we went to earlier. And then the sign up form is online here as well. Okay, so the sign up process will ensure there isn't a duplicate. And it will also, if it does find a company, it will request that you get approval to join the company rather than creating a new company. And that's the sign up process. So you can walk through that and basically fill out the information if you don't have access already. But if you do have an account already, further instructions will be sent out to you in the coming weeks as to how you can actually get in and log into the platform. Okay, so I have covered off all of the features and functionality. The only thing that I'm not able to show is just, the nightly email that goes out. So one thing that will be generated on a nightly basis is there will be what we call the daily bid email, and that will go out to those users on your account who it will tell you what projects were added in the last 24 hours, and it will also have a grouping of projects that match your keywords. Okay, so that's something that will be sent out each night. Obviously, if you don't have keywords set up, the section of the email just says, oh, there's been no projects that match your keywords, log into your profile to check them. But you will still see new projects that were added in the last 24 hours within some parameters that you set on your profile. Okay, so you will still get them once you go live. If you don't find them useful, or it's you don't want to get them, just remember you can also opt out by going into your profile. At the bottom of the email, there is also an unsubscribe option as well, so you can just do it that way. Okay, so I have covered off everything that I wanted, and just about right in time here. I think we've got a minute or two left. So I do want to just, pass it back to the team. Not sure if my CINet team has anything to add at the end here, but otherwise, I'm just going to start to look at the questions that have come in. And again, I know we are kind of running out of time, so we may just have to follow up with some of those as well. Okay. Anything from my CINet friends we want to close out with?
Ali, I sent a couple questions to you. They're more general and you may have already covered them, but I think it might be worth highlighting them again. Outside of that, I don't have anything else to add. Thanks,
Okay,
great presentation.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, a couple questions. Thanks for that, Nadine. So will the bulletin be posted on the website? So that there are bulletin reports that can be generated in the system, and there are options to get those sent out via email, but each of the associations can kind of take care of what they want to post on their website and how they want to distribute that information. But there certainly is going to be the nightly email that goes out with new projects. And then further to that, the associations may also be sending out additional information through their regular newsletters and so on. One of the other questions was, will there be an area for bids and awards? Yes, hopefully everyone remembers that. So once the project has been awarded, if the information is available to the association and they can get that information in, then when you view the details on that same project details screen, it will be shown. How can we view closed projects? So that was one of the other filters that was in there. I'll just pop it open really quick here. Kind of answers two questions at the same time. I'm just going to jump over to our project search. So if you use this concept of stage and we pop over to closed, you can click search, and this will bring in all of the closed projects for us, so you can see the status. So it could be closed, it could be awarded. And this is where, just to answer the other question, if there are results, again, this is just sample data, you will see what was submitted and what was awarded. So if there's multiple companies, those will be displayed here with the submitted and awarded value. If it's, again, it just depends on what data is available and what can get into the system. So I think that was the, sorry?
No, thanks. That was
Okay.
from a member. So
Yes,
that's
awesome.
great.
Okay, and
Yeah,
if
no,
anyone
perfect.
thinks of questions after the fact, and you feel free to contact us, contact your local association if you're wondering about how to use the platform, or how something might work for you in your organization. Certainly more information will be coming, and there'll be some documentation, and I think the team's working on some videos as well as to how to use some of the aspects of the platform. So yeah, certainly any questions, send them out to us. And I just want to thank everyone for your time this morning, and looking forward to getting this launched and getting this platform into your hands.
Perfect. Thanks a million, Ali. Great presentation, and we look forward to working with eSolutions and creating great opportunities for the construction industries here in PEI and New Brunswick. So great things.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everyone has a great. I'll be signing off.
Okay.
Yes, thank you again from New Brunswick as well. Well done. Very well done.
Thank you.